go to the Zoom machine and talk to the woman who's going up for the UFC strawweight title this Saturday, a rematch almost 8 years in the making, the one and only Carla Esparza joining us on the program. There she is. Hello, Carla. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. How's it going?
Everything's going really well, and thank you for doing this on the Monday of your fight week. I know it's a really busy time, a hectic time. How crazy is it, by the way? Like right now, do you feel like your head is spinning? Is life very crazy or pretty good?
I mean, it's a little busy for sure. Just with the added media, I think my last 3 fights, there wasn't much media because of the pandemic. There was no crowds in the fight. There was hardly any pre-fight media. So it's definitely going to be a bit of a change going into a title fight.
And there's so much that I want to ask you about with regard to the title fight. Just curious, because we've been talking about it on this show and last week as well. Did you watch that Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano fight on Saturday? Maybe you're interested. It's women. I know women were accepted a lot sooner in UFC, but I'm wondering if you watched it and were inspired by them going into your title fight this Saturday.
I actually didn't watch it. I tend to not watch too many fights right before my fight because I really just try to stay in the zone of my own fight.
Ah, that's interesting. You've always been like that?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, to me, watching fights gets me really amped up, and I my brain starts moving, and I just try to think about my game plan and what I have to do the following week.
And what a crazy couple of weeks for you. Correct me if I'm wrong. So this Saturday you're fighting for the belt. The following Saturday you're getting married, right?
Correct.
This is crazy. You're getting married. So which date came first?
I've had this wedding plan for 8-9 months. So that's been planned well in advance. And then the fight, I think I found out maybe around 2 months or a little more ago.
Okay, so when you got the call, you obviously knew the date. It's ingrained in your mind, right? It's a big day for you and your fiance. What was your reaction? You're finally getting this fight. We've been talking about the saga of you trying to get the fight for so long. What was your reaction when you got the call that it's a week before your wedding date?
Well, my reaction was I have a choice to make, as opposed to if the wedding was, a couple weeks before, I would have been I have to cancel it. Or if it was the day of the fight, I would have been no questions, got to cancel the wedding. But this was okay, well, now you have a choice. You can potentially go into, a wedding maybe with a nice belt and a black eye, or, just tore up, is a big decision to make. But fortunately, my fiance kind of helped me come to the conclusion that, hey, let's just keep it. We're all, he's I love you no matter what, black eyes and all. And, everyone coming to the wedding. It's a small wedding. They know what's up. It's not going to be that's weird. Where'd that black eye come from?
Right. And so your fiance was totally okay with it. No problems, no hesitations, no questions asked.
Yeah. He's actually the person that helped, made me solidify the decision. Cause I went to him, I was I feel really stressed out about this decision. Planning a wedding is very stressful and you do it months in advance. And, I was I don't want to go into, I'm stressed out, how, I could go into the wedding. I want to feel beautiful. I want to look beautiful. And he was look, when I asked you to marry you, I knew what I was getting myself into asking a fighter to marry me. And he's you're beautiful no matter what. He's we're just committing to each other. So that's all that matters. And
wow.
I support whatever decision you want to make. And to me, that solidified it. I'm if he can see me as beautiful no matter what, that's all that really matters.
What a gentleman. That's a real keeper right there that you got on your hands. Well done.
Yeah.
That's an amazing thing.
Sure.
And by the way, I know, most women would have some nerves, some thoughts, some all kinds of things before their wedding date. Do you even think about your wedding at this point, or are you kind of holding it off until Sunday after the fight?
I mean, it's hard not to have it in my mind, but at the end of the day, my focus is on this fight. I mean, at the end of the day, I've been, preparing for this fight for a couple months, but in all actuality, I've been preparing for this fight my whole life. This is my dream. This is what I've built up to. So I'm not going to be distracted. The wedding has been set, and I've told everybody, florists, venue people, at 6 weeks out, I was don't contact me anymore. It's already all set and planned, and I need to focus on my fight. If you have to contact anyone, contact my fiance.
Why did it take so long to make this fight?
I mean, that's hard to say. Like, I think this fight was a long time in the making. I think it got to the point where it was like, it's undeniable that, I was the next one for the fight. And the only option, the only other thing they could do, there was nobody else that I think was in line for this, was just like, okay, well, let's do a rematch with Whaley, because she was pushing for it. So, it's hard to say, but I mean, I got cut on my eye. I did a jiu-jitsu competition, so that might have put it off another like month or two. Like there's a lot of things, but at the end of the day, I try not to like speculate and wonder about those things. At the end of the day, like, I got to fight next week, and that's all that matters.
How's the cut?
It's doing great.
Okay.
It's pretty much, it's fully healed. The doctor told me, I think it was like 90% healed or something at 6 weeks. And it's been a few months. So, I feel good. I feel good about it. I mean, it doesn't look as super pretty as, I'd want it, but, we're fighters. That's how it goes.
When you finally got the call a couple months ago that it was finally going to happen, what kind of a relief was that for you? Because I feel like, I mean, I said it, I thought you should have been fighting for the belt in November. I thought you should have gotten the fight after the knockout win over Zhang Weili for Rose. Didn't happen. Yeah. And then there was still like, they weren't quite committing to you. It wasn't being put out there. So when you finally got the call, what did that feel like?
I actually wasn't necessarily like a call that I got. It was more of, like when Dana kind of committed to the fight, like when he was like, Carla is 100% next in line. I was just like, like I could finally take a breath. It was a huge relief. Like, okay, like now I know what's happening. Like, big guy said it, so it's going down for sure. Okay. So it's definitely a big relief.
Have you watched the first fight and the build up in the training camp leading up to this one? And if so, how many times?
Have I watched
your first fight?
What do you mean the build up?
Like as you're preparing for this fight, do you go back to 2014 and watch that first fight a lot?
I did in fact watch that fight. And more of just like studying and kind of seeing what tendencies are still there, because I know how she's going to react to me, and the things that I do, because although like it's been almost 8 years, we both evolved and changed a lot. At the end of the day, like there's still a lot of tendencies that are the same on both sides in any fighter. You hope to evolve and change as a fighter, but you're never going to completely like lose who you are and your style.
So what do you think is the biggest difference between her today and her style today as opposed to the one almost 8 years ago?
I mean, it just seems like she's just, like a better version of herself. She's so much sharper. Like when I see her footwork and, her composure in the cage, because she's had so many high level fights, I feel like the composure is a big, she's definitely grown a lot there. She was very young in her career back when we first fought. Her footwork, is really crisp. Her recognition of like when there's kind of like a quick moment of like someone's maybe off or like kind of not paying attention, she capitalizes on it really well. She's really good at seeing that. Just her hands are really up and sharp. Like her striking's crisp, like just overall. I mean, of course, in like her jiu-jitsu and everything, it's always been sharp, but we haven't seen as much of it in the last few years because, she's tended to beat most people on the feet. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of growth everywhere.
And what about for yourself? What would you say you have improved on the most since that first fight?
I would say just kind of like my timing, like I'm better at, setting things up. I think back in the day it used to be a little bit more like wild, and now it's kind of hidden behind my like mix, my striking and my, my takedowns are a little bit mixed in better. My striking's definitely a lot sharper. I think, just kind of like all over my jiu-jitsu, like I think has gotten better. Like I think I'm more going for the submission now and the finish, as opposed to back then it was just kind of stay safe and stay in place. Now it's like, no, like let's get that win. Let's get that finish.
I always thought that you got a raw deal 8 or so years ago, if I may say so myself, because you had just come off that show. That's a whole process in its own right. Then you're fighting for the belt and you're beating Rose, and that's a huge moment. And then like it felt like 3-4 weeks later they booked you in another title fight, and you're fighting in March. Is one of the quickest turnarounds. I always thought you got a raw deal then. What do you think? Do you agree with me?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely felt that way at the time, and looking back, I mean, I still feel the same, but like over the years, it's like I did dwell on it for a little bit, and I was upset, but it didn't really serve me to be upset about that and like upset, just in general, because that's not going to change. Like that fight is done and over with. I lost. Gotta lick your wounds and like come back and keep growing and go for the title again. And it may have taken me almost 8 years, but I'm here again. So that's what I'm focused on.
And on the flip side of that, and I want to give a shout out to a media member, Scott Fontana, who tweeted this. If you win the belt on Saturday, it would be the longest period of time in between two title victories in the UFC, over 2,000 days. I think it's like 2,700 days or something like that. But you would break the record. Do you know this?
Yeah, no, I just had heard that, and I was like, wow. Before that, I think it was Frank Mir at 4.5 years, and this would be almost 8 years. So, I mean, to me, that would be like such a proud achievement, because I think that, I mean, even stepping into this title fight is a huge achievement for me, but like winning that would solidify that, like, hey, back then it wasn't a fluke. It wasn't because there wasn't anyone in the division. Like I've continued to grow and get better and evolve, and I'm still hanging with the new young up and comers. Like I'm still here at the top.
Yeah.
Almost 8 years later.
That's an amazing thing. And obviously witness the fact that it would be a record. So not a lot of people are doing that. By the way, the nails, I just saw them again. What do they signify? What is it? It's one blue. I'm colorblind. Is that pink or white over there?
It's white. It's white. Like I just, championship color white. I love wearing white. I have pretty good luck in why I wore it my last fight, and I got a lot of blood on it, but it wasn't mine, so that was cool. I wore white when I fought for the title for Invicta and won that. So I'm just, hey, so it'd be cool. Like the blue, I'm going to be in the blue corner, and I'm a Cookie Monster. Like I just thought it was cool. I actually had just seen it in my photo I posted from my last fight, and I had done the same thing, and I was just kind of like, that's cool. I'm gonna stick with that.
Recreate it. And so for you, when do you go to Phoenix? Tomorrow?
I fly tomorrow afternoon.
And are you the kind of
flight from?
Yeah, on the West Coast. Are you an anxious person on fight week? Like how would you describe, it's been a while since you fought for the belt or defended the belt. Back in March of 2015 was the last time. Do you feel different this time around? It's been a long road to get back here. How would you describe what's going on inside of you?
It's really hard to compare the experiences because, the last time I fought for the title, nobody even knew I was fighting for the title. I mean, it was under wraps because the Ultimate Fighter, the final season, the final episode was airing that week, which would determine who would be in the final. So we pretty much didn't have to do very much media. It wasn't like this big pay-per-view that was, built up. It was just kind of it was an Ultimate Fighter. I think we fought on a Friday, it was definitely a different vibe. And so, it's hard to compare the feelings, and I don't know how I'm going to feel when I get to fight week, but it's weird. Like the last few camps, I've felt this weird, calmness and just confidence and everything that I've done. So I actually feel pretty good going into fight week.
By the way, did you think that she beat Zhang back in November? Some people thought she actually lost. What did you think?
Yeah, I thought Rose won.
Okay.
I thought she won the fight. Yeah, I watched it a few times, and and obviously there was both people had their moments in the fight, but I felt that she was the sharper fighter. She was the more accurate fighter, and Zhang wasn't really able to do too much usually when she would get this great position, other than a mount she got at the end of the second, I think. But
in your opinion, if you can share it, maybe not key to beat. She's looked really good as of late. Dare I say she's looking the best of her career, especially that knockout of last year was amazing. Key to beating her, especially early on. What do you have to do early on to set the tone, set the tempo?
I think I just really have to kind of impose my will and kind of fight the fight that I want to fight, and not really let her set the pace. And, I think it's got to be a fast-paced fight, so, I mean, we'll see. You never know, because at the end of the day, you have a game plan going in and they have a
Yeah.
game plan going in. You never know what they're going to come at you. Like, I've had fights where I was like, okay, I'm going to take this person down. And then, they kind of circled me and I had to like with when I fought Watterson, we were like on the feet the whole time, and it wasn't the fight that I expected, but you just got to kind of be able to like switch in the moment.
Well, I can't wait. I'm thrilled that you got the fight. I'm thrilled that we're getting to see it again. It's such a great story, and I hope that it's promoted the right way this week. Almost 8 years in the making. Both of you were very different people back then, and you were coming off a crazy show. She had hair. She doesn't have hair anymore. You're about to get married. I mean, there's so much going on in your lives. So well done on getting it. Congrats on the success recently. And well done on taking the fight and even being willing to cancel your wedding if you had to in order to get this fight. But I'm happy it all worked out. And of course, congratulations to you and your fiance on the wedding the following week. But good luck to you, Carla. I appreciate you doing this. I know I told you I'd keep you short so you can get to training. So appreciate you doing this very much, and good luck this week.
Cool. Thank you so much. Good talking to you.
Great talking to you. There she is, Carla Esparza, the Cookie Monster, legend of the game, and at one point considered for quite a while the best strawweight in the world. I can't wait for that fight.